Hi students and family members, Mr. Panza helping you with tonight's homework where we will be adding and subtracting decimals. First, you need to remember that we need to line up the decimals and fill in the holes with zeros. So, every single problem tonight is written the wrong way. They're horizontal. They must be vertical. So the one thing you'll gain from this video is the fact that I've set up every single problem for you. You just need to make sure you pause the video so you can copy it down before adding on the front and subtracting on the back. First five, let's add. 3 4/10 plus 152 and 34 hundredths. Well, you can see 3 4/10, there's my decimal, lined up with my other decimal. Filling in my holes means anywhere that you see an empty place value box, like in the hundredths, the tens, and the hundreds, you fill with a 0. That way, you can add it easily. 4 plus 0 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. Bring down my decimal point. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 0 is 5, and 1 plus 0 is 1. 155 and 74 hundredths. We were also practicing converting today in class, which would mean I have 155 whole numbers, and then the 156th has 74 of 100 filled in. That's only if you want extra practice. This is what I'm looking for here. So when you get to your final answer, circle it. That's how you do the addition side. Let me set up the other problems for you, then I'll go over the example of the subtraction. 6 77 hundredths plus 2 1/10. Line up the decimals, fill in the hole with a 0, then add. Move on to number 3. 13 54 hundredths plus 103 and 27 hundredths. Line up the decimals, then fill in the hole with a 0. Now you're set to add. Number 4, 1 5/10 and 27 9 hundredths. Line up my decimals, fill in my holes. My hundredths gets a 0. My tens gets a 0. Now I'm ready to add. And the fifth and final one on the front page, 44 4 hundredths plus 2 8/10. Line up my decimals, fill in my holes with zeros, and then add. Let me show you how to do the first subtraction one. Flip it onto the back. You can see on this one, it's nice and set because my place values have the highest the tens, the lowest the hundredths. So I don't even have to fill in zeros, but I must line up my decimals. And I must also remember this is the subtraction side of the worksheet. 7 minus 2, 5. When I have 2, which is a smaller number than 3, I cannot take 3 away from 2. So, like you've learned in previous grade levels, I've got to take 10 from the ones, which makes this a 12. And 12 minus 3 is 9. Bring down your decimal point. 8 minus 2 is 6. 8 minus 1 is 7. 76 and 95 hundredths. As a mixed number, 76 wholes and 95 hundredths of the 77th whole. Let me show you how to set up the other ones. 98 is the whole number, 98. 43 32 hundredths is written like 43.32. But because I have 2 additional place values in the decimal place value area, I have to add a decimal to the number 98 and fill in the tenths and hundredths with zeros before you can subtract. And now you're just subtracting across zeros. Borrow from the 8, that's a 7. Changes this to a 10. Borrow from the tenths. And now 10 minus 2 in the hundredths to get started. Similar here, 35 39 hundredths minus 1 55 hundredths. Fill in this hole in the tens with a 0. Now subtract. 66 789 thousandths minus 55 6/10 can also be transferred to 55 600 thousandths. Now you can subtract because you filled in the holes with zeros. And the 10th and final problem is 11 21 hundredths minus 4 3/10. Fill in my holes with zeros and subtract. I hope now that you've seen all of the problems set up, you're good to go and that this video helped. Have a great night.